the backup story that was in the National Guardian's book had Ron Friend's art, and that dude was solid as far as it kind of capturing that Silver Age. He could do a good Kirby, he could do a good Buscema. He was really good. He did just basically the breakdown, so he didn't do the finished art, but there's still a lot of that kind of Silver Age pacing of these books. So I was like, that worked.
Honestly, that art kind of freaked me out.
You're listening to And This Is Why I Love Comics.
All grown up.
And welcome to another episode of And This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
Conversation between friends who love comic books. Yeah, that's right. We love comic books. What of it? We grew up in the 80s and we talk about comics. We talk about kids in comics. We talk about conventions. We talk about picking issues to read. We talk about
Big Bang history. Big Bang does have a long history, longer than I thought it was, reading the origin of Big Bang.
The first go around in the 90s and then kind of continued.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Nodells were a part of that beginning, golden age dealing with the Big Bang.
Yeah, the creator of the original Green Lantern, Marty Nodell, and
his wife, and so I didn't realize that they were a part of all this, and that's pretty cool. I got to respect that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to go with the people who lived to begin with. Yeah, and then the round table itself, just a quick overview from my perspective. It was a solid reintroduction and bringing in fans again. When is there allegories to other characters, analogous to other characters? And then where do you feel is like how much is too much and how much is just enough? Then how do you introduce new concepts and new characters in there? Where do you feel like when somebody's doing a tip of the hat to an era, how much alternate versions of these archetypes would you allow before you go like some of this has got to be an original and some of it's got to be or do you just go, hey, if we're going to commit, we're going to commit. We're going to do them all.
That's a good question. I have a tendency to be okay with having the initial archetype and broadening it out to, we'll take Ultraman as the easiest example. They took this character. He's a character that has similar powers to Superman. He has a Fortress of Solitude. He makes robots that are duplicates of him. And I'm okay with that version. What I would be remiss to see is all his storylines were based on refurbished Man of Steel comic books. Like Alan Moore did, he took a lot of things, including the Legion of Superheroes, in his stories of Supreme, and I didn't feel like I was reading the same comic that had been done in the Silver Age. Like he made it his own, even though there were similarities initially. And Tom Strong's the same way. Like you have an archetype, but there are things that are just Tom Strong, and I would love to see things that are just Ultraman. If I wanted to read the originals, I could get Kurt Swan art and everything I wanted out of a Superman comic just by going back and reading it digitally. I don't need a modern version of it if it's exactly the same.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that's got a unique take, and you can see, that it's offering options for those who are familiar. It's a nice little like nod saying like, do you get it? Do you get it? Did you catch that one? That's great. So like there's like a ventriloquist dummy in the Fortress of Solitude among his like arch nemesis, and you kind of get a sense of like, I bet you that's like a Toy Man, and then the statue, like, where Superman's got his statues of Jor-El and Lara, and it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense to kind of have a similarity to it. So like if you know it, but you also wonder, it's like, what kind of story led to this one and how is that different? It's a struggle with any of these where you want to capture it, and it would be easy to fall victim of being like, I remember that issue when it originally came out and whatever,
Right.
and some people, kind of going into the Star Wars thing where it's like people felt like the prequels didn't quite live up to what a Star Wars movie should be like, but then
That's nonsense.
but then others, so then they did that Force Awakens, and then it's like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that when it was called Star Wars. Yeah, this is, find some kid out in the desert wasting away, bring him along, make him a Jedi, fight a bad guy. Turns out the bad guy's got some sort of weird connection to the past, and then the mentor character dies, and it's like, holy crap, yeah, no wonder why this feels like a Star Wars movie, because it was Star Wars just redone.
There's a super weapon they have to destroy,
Yeah,
and
it's wiped out millions of people.
that's a great example of. I love the prequels because they did something different. I disliked newer trilogy. All they did was cut and paste the original script, change some names, and didn't even make it as good. There's just the special effects were good. Sorta, and that's about it.
Yeah.
They ruined a lot. There was, don't get me wrong, there's parts of the trilogy that I like, but not many.
Yeah.
Not a lot, not enough to say these were good.
Yeah. One of the things I did, like, again, going back to the round table, one, it opens up for a new reader. It opens up with the headshots of all the characters, and you can already get a sense of like, yep, I know exactly who this one is. A Megaton is a one character that's like, I wonder where that, and it's like, oh, that's a pre-existing character, and it's got a copyright by Carlson's name, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where he started, and that's
where the rest of these guys are clearly DC Justice Leaguers in a different universe. Megaton was like the only one, but at the same point, it's like you kind of want to continue that character if it's already existed.
Yeah, they do Earth A and Earth B.
Yeah. And I did like, there's enough separation between Ultiman and Superman, that he has to recharge his powers. Where Superman obviously recharges his power by the, radiation of the sun. This guy's got a meteorite. But at the same point, there is a different in that extremely painful for him to recharge his powers, and it's not bringing him back to full every, time. And in fact, it's gotten like where he's barely getting anything back.
The new issue, it reset the clock on a lot of these characters and didn't copy, like it took these characters that were copies and then is branching out now to where they're telling their own original stories. That's how I feel. Like they're finally out of the shadow of the Silver Age, and while they may lose a little bit of that Silver Age uniqueness, they are trying to branch out and just tell a new story. And that Ultiman, his weaknesses suddenly growing, it doesn't last as long as it used to, and all that stuff. That's a new character build for him. And they're updating their group. They got new members, and I love how they pulled in different characters from different series and stuff like that. And even like, comments like one of the characters was a female, and then now she's back to being a male. It was, time has progressed on these characters. Continuity has still remained, ready to tell a new story. And that got me kind of excited to where, hey, we're on the ground floor again of a new skyscraper, and they're just starting out now, and then it's a great time to jump
ground
on.
Floor. Plucky sidekick that was kind of the mascot of the team. And I remember, was it the Justice Society who had the individual with the pot on the head, the cooking pot?
That was the original Red Tornado.
That the Red Tornado was kind of like the Long Johns as a costume.
Yeah, her name was Ma Hunkle.
And it was just goofy enough, but it was just that kind of mascot character, kind of lighthearted. But, then Red Tornado, even in the comics, became, the tornado robot character. And here it was like this Mike Merlin character went from being the original Red Tornado feel of kind of the, haha, here's our mascot, to like, holy crap, he's now a sorcerer supreme, so to speak, following some of the arcs, but a unique take on each of them. So it's not like, oh, it used to be a plucky old lady who decided to wear a costume to help out the Justice Society. And then, here it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is actually the same person, just all grown up.
The Round Table definitely seemed to be the future of the vitalizing. The New Guardians issue number 3 was the other one that we got. They dedicated it to John Romita Sr., which is awesome. Like you said earlier, it's one book with the art that I imagined the other ones would have. It was more Silver Agey. It reminded me of early, 70s. It kind of reminded me of like X-Mutants art. I'm trying to think of what other was in that line.
Like
but,
Elementals, the Willingham era.
Yeah, Elementals would be a good one too. It just kind of reminded me of, if I had to pick the 2 favorites, it would be the 2 group books.
Yeah.
Dr. Weird was great, is right up my alley, but I still enjoyed the 2 group books better.
And there's something about how they handle group books that there was enough focus on each of the characters to really help identify the characters. So you didn't feel like, why is this person here? Whereas, a lot of group books, you'll get like a character that they highlight and the rest of them are along for the ride. These are great jumping on points for both. And the powers were pretty straightforward. It didn't feel like any of them were, I don't get what they do when I look at them. I was like, what is the intent of this character? Because they've got so many bells and whistles with that Round Table of America. You got a sense of like, oh yeah, Mr. Martian. He's green skinned and has a space helmet. So clearly he's, the alien classic alien from outer space.
I think he was one of my favorites.
The Blitz, with the lightning bolts on his costume, give you a good sense. Nemo with his liquefied look, they all like, I get it. You don't really need a whole lot more. But like if I looked at, let's say, a Jim Lee Spartan from his Wildcat series, I would have zero understanding of what that character is about. Belabored over costuming, they just don't get a sense of what's this person capable of.
Yeah.
And the villains look like villains, the heroes look like the heroes. There's no ambiguity. They're fairly straightforward.
Very entertaining, and I think I'm on board to get more. I'll purchase them. They do have a site on Indie Planet. You can print on demand or just get the digital download. The digital download is cheaper than the print on demand. If you do want to invest into some more of these books, there's a ton of even the old stuff they have on there that you can get off of indieplanet.com.
Yeah, and there's something nice about the digital approach to it all that while it is great to go to the local comic shop and try to track them all down, since there's been decades between, man, just getting the digital, it's like boom, 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 boom. I can get caught up really quick and you're up to speed. But yeah, going to Big Bang Adventures number 26 had the reintroduction of, or the return of, the Round Table of America. And that was a great jumping on point. But since it says Big Bang Adventures 26, that means that there's 25 previous issues to track back down. And when it comes to smaller publications, man, it is difficult to try to questing after Big Trouble in Little China. John Carpenter wrote the first several issues of that, and I'm missing like some of those earlier issues, and it's tough to find. Those are like, I think Boom Studios had done that or something like that.
And aren't you trying to find James Bond Jr.?
Yeah, and that was, I think, under Marvel. I think they had dropped the Star comics at that point. But yeah, just being a James Bond fan, I felt like that was still in the wheelhouse. But yeah, it's tough to try to find some of these smaller press or smaller print run books, and digital just makes it so much easier. There is something nice about holding the originals, but this will definitely tide you over and get you caught up real quick. So
I do love digital comics. for one, I'm an old grumpy old school guy, so I do love the physical comic. I want to pull it out of my box, take it out of the bag, and flip it open, and yell at my kids, and then read it some more. And I kind of like that. And I think though, if I had a reader that I could depend on,
Oh, yeah.
I have an old iPad. My kids have newer ones, which I can read stuff on my phone, and it's not a small screen, but it's not an iPad screen either. And I enjoy reading off of them. I can do it. These eyes are aging, and I can increase the visuals so that I can see all the panel work and stuff like that. But I don't think I'll, unless they come up with something. I'm in comicsology and all that stuff, kind of folding, and it's just I'm reluctant to purchase anything digitally that I will suddenly lose.
Yeah.
And I've spent money on it, and I probably have 100 comics on my comicsology app. Some were free, but some I paid for. I have entire runs of stuff. I forget I have them. I'm old, I don't have the memory that I used to.
What were we talking about again?
Big Bang Comics.
Well, that happened as well. Like, I would get digital versions of anime on Funimation. Well, then Funimation got bought out by Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll does not offer where you can buy the material. And so when they got assimilated into Crunchyroll, all those digital downloads are gone because they're Crunchyroll is only a subscription. Everything's gone. Just gone. Having a permanent copy somewhere.
That reminds me of when I'm buying movies digitally, which I'll do more than I will comics, because I have a few apps on my TV that I can do, just, pull it up. But even that, I could have sworn that I had bought the entire season of Cowboy Bebop. I know I watched some of it, and I wanted to go look for it again. Couldn't find it on any of those major apps. And then I also realized that I had John Wick. Okay, I bought the first 3 John Wicks, not on my systems, any of the apps that I had. So I'm like, where did I purchase these? And I ended up finding them on my Xbox account. Like I'd bought them through Microsoft, and that's the only place I can watch them. And I'm like, well, that's not very convenient at all.
No, because if you switched over to PlayStation or whatever, PS5, you're like, well, that's it. I can't get to these movies because I got a different console.
Right. So now I got to keep an Xbox just so I can
watch the movies,
view some of the movies that I purchased. And I don't understand why they don't just create an all app, thing. Why do I have to have Voodoo, Fandango, Movies Anywhere, and they all have different, now Microsoft, they all have different things on them. Why can't I just have one system?
Yeah. They did attempt, at least, because I use the Mac, that they attempted to have it where your iTunes account could link up with like Movies Anywhere, and then that way if you have Apple TV you can watch it on that player. But then some movies transferred and some didn't, and it's like, wait, I thought these things were linked. Yeah, they kind of, but if Apple has it, then you can get it through the Apple. But we just give a checkbox saying like, yeah, you got that. But if Apple doesn't have it and you bought it off of here, you can watch it on Movies Anywhere, but you can't watch it on Apple, even though you linked these accounts. It doesn't work. It's like, well, pisser.
In the back of my head, I don't trust corporations, and it's like, okay, if they're gonna do that, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go all digital, comic wise, and then just have them disappear as they want it to. Oh, we needed to save space, so we took out the first 300 Action Comics issues that you bought.
Yeah. Well, and then they're now slicing and dicing things up so much that it's like, oh, well, you might have it, but we now have a thing called the extended subscription that allows you to go back to Golden Age, and then you can get the regular edition that gives you silver to copper, and then you want the copper. And it's like, oh crap! I thought I had access to everything, and now you've compartmentalized everything to a point where it's like you basically monetized every action to get the most out of you.
That too reminds me of, like I've purchased the Star Wars movies and they're digital. And I feel like just like Disney has spotted something and changed it, that I don't own the actual movies. They can come in at any time and alter it, alter a scene, and suddenly, Ben Kenobi is doing some weird sound coming down from the sea.
Clunky.
Instead of the instead of the original scream, which I'm so used to, and now it's some wee wee wee. It's like what is? No, I did not buy it when it was that way. I did not want it changed. But now suddenly I have a changed version. Just don't change my stuff. If I want the new version, I'll buy the new version.
Yeah. I mean, one of the benefits of, like you think about like with your computers and so forth, it makes sense. Keep updating my software, keep keeping the, firewalls and security updates and stuff. And we have a new user interface. That's great. But there are some things where it's like you walk into that expecting updates. That's part of the walk-in agreement. When it comes to some of the digital thing, assets, it's like really need to just whatever I bought is when I bought it. Let me have that one. And if you come up with something better, then it's up to me to decide whether I want to spend the money and get the better version of it. Because you think about even like games and role playing and video games, it's like I've got Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear for the Nintendo. And then, Solid Snake or whatever the other ones were down the road. And then, you had to buy those as separate ones, because you've updated it. It's on a different platform or whatever. You had to buy them as separate games. And it's like, don't update just because I was watching The Muppet Show last night. And I thought, oh man, I hadn't seen this one with Marty Feldman, the dude with the googly eyes from Young Frankenstein. Yeah, and they had to put a huge disclaimer, and it left it on the screen for so long about like there may be things that are offensive to today's audiences. It was wrong then and wrong now, and I'm like going, dude, it was so freaking funny. It was like,
don't tell me what's funny.
Because
I'll make the judgment if it's wrong, and it probably will say it's wrong, but
let it be what it is. And it's tough, because I understand like if there was something about like, what was the one that's like controversial, the Superman cover where it's like, it's okay to slap a Jap or something like that. That's a little rough.
Where he's taking his belt off and the boys in front and he's crying.
Yeah. You also got to understand, I mean, just because you're putting today's lens on it.
We have the crotchety old man.
Kicking in, full gear.
Yeah. But I agree, it was a different time. And yes, some things were wrong, but it was a different time. If we were still doing it, then it would be wrong because the society has adapted. But you can't judge it based on today. You can change it based on yesterday, but
don't continue it. Don't perpetuate it. But it was a thing. It's an artifact. You can't go like, well, what about what happened to the Aztecs? And the human sacrifice, let's say, you're not going to go, well, that's it. I'm never heading down to South America for anything. It's like, no, that was a historic thing. It actually happened. And
there's probably less people complaining about that than they are, Speedy Gonzalez trying to hit on girls. Or, Pepe Le Pew,
Oh, man. There was some unique characters.
Did the Muppets have the mimes where they were melting?
I was looking specifically for that episode. Man, it's so creepy. Just digging your clay sculpt face and making it into different expressions. Oh my gosh, terrifying. One thing I kind of wanted to jump on that's not even like it's not promotion or anything, but have you been following the DC United game on Gamefound at all?
That's the game you like, right? DC United?
Yeah. So it's DC Superheroes United. So it takes the Marvel United, put the DC characters in it, and it's completely compatible. Sure. So like you could legitimately have Wolverine and Batman teaming up against Darkseid. It is a fantastic game system, super insanely simple system. But one of the things, and I thought it would tie in with Big Bang Comics, is that they just announced that they released an expansion for Justice Society.
Nice.
And so they pulled in the vintage characters, and then because we did it, I'm finding weird correlations. They did the new Teen Titans.
Oh man, now I'm gonna have to get it. Dang it.
I was waiting. I was almost going like, okay, people start the clocks. Let's see how long it's going to take for
Right.
Andy to dive
Yeah.
deep into this one.
Okay, it is July 16th
Yeah.
when we're recording this. The next time we chat and I say, hey, I just ordered blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can mark the calendar and see how many days that was.
I believe they got it up to 4 people can play. You can kind of cheat it and have a couple extras in there, and then all the way down to solo. Again, not to show age and desperation, but man, it plays really well solo, and you feel like these characters are legitimately there. But the Trigon, man, he's huge, and the sculpt looks fantastic.
Dang it, now I'm going to have to look up Gamefound.
Yeah, so Gamefound, and then just DC United. And then they've got a lot, because it is these crowdfunding ones, they've been, if you do it with Gamefound versus buying the game at the store level, added a bunch of exclusive figures and characters. Kind of on the fence because I like my Marvel and I love the characters and I've got so many. The Galactus is supposed to be coming, so I'm waiting for that expansion. And I'm super excited about getting that thing in and playing that with the family and all. When this came out, I was like, it's got the Joker, and I feel like he's an overused character. It's got Darkseid. I feel like that's an overused villain. And of course, Lex Luthor. It's like, here we go yet again. Just the staples. And it's like, well, okay, maybe they'll have some extra villains, which is what they ultimately did. But it all boiled down to when they introduced that they were going to launch the Justice Society as an expansion set, and I scrolled through who they had on the list of characters, and it was like, oh, Captain Marvel. Well, they have to call it Shazam now. And then the second one was Dr. Fate. I was like, oh crap.
And man, so it's like, my weakness. Oh yeah, Trigon is huge.
Yeah, and it's a very consistent style. Like the character look, the character art. It's
Power Girl.
Don't mind painting those details.
Right. Did I say that out loud?
But, then they've added these exclusive characters. Jonah Hex, I could take or leave, but they had some other ones that are really good. The Metropolis comes with Crypto and Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane as extras that aren't playable characters, but they just appear in the game, and if you interact with them, things happen. And it's really well thought through, and I can see why it ranks high on a lot of like board game review websites. I think they even posted like, where does this fall in your top 100 games? And it's like, for Dice Tower, the lowest ranking it had was number 26 out of their top 100 of all time. And then Board Game Geek gave it like 3 different really nice reviews, and then Board Game Quest gave it some awards. So it's like, it's a solid game, plays super easy, but that has a lot of like strategy to it and teamwork. I love this game, the set, and the villains are each of them different, so the replayability's right up there. One of the key examples is the cheetah at a certain point becomes more evasive and you're trying to defeat her, so she actually starts running away from you. It's really difficult to catch her, and if you don't do it in a certain, like, she'll just eventually win the game on their end. And the same with Darkseid. It's like, you can't defeat any of his threats, but if he completes the threats, the game's over.
I do have an issue with the Justice Society of America. There's 7 figures. Okay, so let's go through them here. Justice Society of America, Shazam. Now you could get away with Shazam.
Yeah. Jeff Johns.
Back then, even in the All-Star Squadron, he had a few moments where he was in the issue. So that was 1940s Shazam. You have Black Canary, which is doable as well because the original Black Canary came from Earth 2 and was in the Justice Society, and then their daughter took over later on. Right. Okay, you got Hawkman. Yep, that's fine.
Yep.
Dr. Fate. Sure. Yep. You got Cyclone. Mm-hmm. You got Atom Smasher. That's a kind of an Infinity Inc. character, and then you have the Atom, shrinking down Atom, not the actual Justice Society Atom that was in the Justice Society. You have the shrinking Atom. The original Adam was a guy with a cape. He kind of looked like Atom Smasher, his costume, because they were related. Why is the Atom in the Justice Society of America expansion?
So if you could take a swap out for another character, would you put like an Hourman,
Definitely
Sandman?
Hourman. Yes, I would put, or Starman.
Starman would be good.
You could do the original Green Lantern, which would be awesome.
That would make a that is odd.
Or let's
Garrett.
say Jay Garrick.
Well, and this is where it's a little tricky because, like, if you did look at the Titans expansion, there's a couple of people missing, but one showed up in the base set because this is during like kind of the new 52 where Cyborg is part of Justice League. He comes with a base set, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess. So if you get the Titans, it doesn't come with Cyborg, but it comes with the other characters. But it doesn't come with all of the other characters. It comes with like kind of like, we'll say the main. If you include Cyborg from the base set, you'd get the main five. But there's no Kid Flash. There's no
Nightwing.
It's Robin at this era, so it should have had like Kid Flash at that point in the mix. Wonder Girl should have been in the mix. But then if it's Robin, wouldn't it be technically Changeling instead of Beast Boy? But in fact, I mean, because having read that comic, it seems like he was adamant about being called Changeling instead of Beast Boy, and now it's Beast Boy again.
I mean, it is weird that they include Power Girl as a addition on that.
And that's always kind of a throwaway because, like, I think in the last one they threw in like Shocker as a bonus figure to the multiverse of Marvel, and you're like, wait, that's a Spider-Man villain. Why is that character in the mix? But
I like Crypto. He's cool.
Yeah. I mean, they're all great. Just even from a miniatures point of view, brilliant. And a great way to separate me from my money. And it almost makes Zan and Jaina with Gleek somewhat interesting.
See, next to unlock the Condiment King.
Yeah. So that seems weird that they cross the $1 million mark and it's Condiment King.
You would expect another major hero. Let's see, you get Etrigan, Captain Cold, Hawk Girl would be cool, Young Justice, Ocean Master, Jonah Hex, Raja Ghul, Vixen. Okay, I mean, they cover a lot of cool characters and villains.
Yeah, shut up and take my money. But yeah, I thought you would get a kick out of it. And this is not necessarily the sales sponsored. Today's episode is sponsored by all of the learning that Simon Games had done to create the Marvel versions. They've refined and refined and refined over the releases of Marvel, that they've really got this game solid, that all these little extra tweaks and additions, that they've rolled this out right from the get-go with the best this game can be.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things like equipment cards. That was not in the base set. So you had Captain America, but there was nothing really there that kind of reflect the fact that he has a shield that he can throw and toss. So you didn't feel exactly like this is Captain America. But with here, like with Batman, he's got batarangs, grapnel, and he's got the cape wings. And so he can play his equipment card at any given time. So it makes you feel like, yep, that's the thing that Batman would do. And then there's other abilities in there to kind of add a little extra flavor to your characters that they introduced in the last wave of the Marvel stuff, but wasn't there at the onset. So the original, like, Iron Man didn't have extra gadgets or anything like that. Whereas here, even Barry Allen's Flash gets the Flash costume ring as a piece of equipment. So they just give them a little extra to kind of like separate the characters so you don't feel like, what's the real difference between Captain Marvel of the Marvel universe and Doctor Strange. And so this gives it true distinctions.
Okay, so listeners, you can go to Gamefound and unlock some newer stuff. So that Mike
if it's all about giving me these extra bonuses so that it makes it I mean, they've already unlocked quite a few extra figures and so forth, but man, For every 30,000 in funds that they raise, they add one more figure or one more bonus.
Now, did you do the Marvel Gamefound while it was
Yeah,
going?
that was where
You got all the exclusives?
Yeah, I got the whatever that was called. I got the Multiverse, which was the last release they did. And then they had an expansion that was for the Galactus set. In doing so, they opened up all the old out-of-print books again. Not all of them, but a goodly portion of them. That if you wanted to get like World War Hulk, you could get that set. If you wanted the War of the Kings, you could get that set. So I just got like the Fan 4 and a couple of the other ones. I didn't get them all. It's like, I mean, it was almost like mercy. I'm going to have to, drain my 401k in order to, get these. But what's retirement? I've heard legends of it. The temptation was super strong to get. Some of them, I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I'm not into the whole expanded Spider-Verse where it's like, here's Venom and Anti-Venom and Super Venom. And yeah, so some of those things I felt like, I'm not into these characters, so I wouldn't necessarily want to see how this game plays with those characters. But this, the DC set, especially when I saw Dr. Fate, it's like, oh my gosh, that'd be so cool if I had Dr. Fate and somebody else had the Doctor Strange one. And then we would fight some other mythical creature, going after Galactus, let's say. It's like, that would be awesome, from a game point of view. It is a little bit on the pricey side, in my opinion, but this would be the way to get it because of the fact that it's all these extra figures they're putting in because they raised enough funds.
And you know me, I have to have everything. I can't just pick and choose like you did. Okay, look, they came out with this. Okay, I got Hero Quest. Hero Quest came out with a jungle thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to order that one.
Yeah.
I haven't played the last three yet.
I haven't worked my way through it yet to get caught up. Games are getting these are really good out there these days, and it's tougher and tougher and tougher to decide where am I putting my money. Where are you allocating it?
Well, there's so many big games now. They're amazing that they can do all these miniatures now. And I mean, that's why the prices are rising. Probably shipping all that stuff from China too. Probably not helping.
I've tried to narrow my interests down. Dang it. Every time I'm like, it's like the mob. Every time I think I'm out, they keep pulling me back. And it's like, I'm done.
Yeah. And that's Gamefound.com.
I
was back to Big Bang for a second. I was looking on their website, and they have these cool T-shirts, and I want one of those too. They're just like really cool Silver Age of their characters and stuff. It's cool that they have their their characters on T-shirts, the colors and everything. I thought, oh, that'd be cool to wear one. So if you play board games or want more information on Big Bang Comics, they have their own website, bigbangcomics.com. And if you want to order from them, it's indieplanet.com and just look up Big Bang Comics. And you can get a ton of back issues and new stuff. Please support them. They are doing some great work, deserve some of our money, just like Gamefound DC United.
Yep, promoting things have people dive into.
No money has exchanged hands. We are giving our opinion without any pay. This is not a paid commercial for either one. We just know what we like. Our webpage is, and this is why I love comics, podcast.buzzsprout.com. You can email us. Our emails have stopped coming, so please email us at, and this is why I love comics at gmail.com. You can join us on the Twitter or X at, and this is why I L1. We're on the Facebook. There's a bunch of information there. And this is why I love comics podcast. We're on the TikTok. We're growing even bigger there. And why I love comics podcast. You can support the show either on the Buzzsprout, or why wouldn't you just join the Patreon page and get some exclusive content, a lot of stuff that we have not posted anywhere else, stuff that maybe was a little more adult oriented, just things that didn't fit into a regular episode. Some are short, some are not short, some are like 20 minutes. Well worth it, and I will keep adding more and more on there to sustain your money that you're putting into it. I will make it worthwhile. I guarantee it. Thanks to all the supporters and friends of the show. You could check out Jamie's YouTube channel at Jhood Comics. Thanks to producer Tony. I'm now saying producer Katie because she helped me out on some things. Co-host Matt 2.0, Matt 10.0, Kevin, Jamie, and Nick. Next episode, I think we're going to do some more New Teen Titans. We're going to do the next 6 issues of the New Teen Titans, our read-through episode, which actually got a lot of downloads. It's pretty popular at the moment, so thank you for downloading that one. And then after that, we have to talk about the brackets, the Bay brackets.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure I wrote stuff down on the Facebook page. You can tell me what I wrote down there, and
correct me where I'm wrong.
and we'll do
There's
that.
a no prize in it for
Right.
you.
And I'm going to try to get some stuff out in a short period of time to make up for the last couple months of summer that have been a little slower than normal, and it's my fault. We'll send you some Thunder Chicken and check you out later. Wait, see you later. How about that?
Chat at you later.
Chat at you later. I'll come up with something.
So many options, but it'll definitely be not too long.
One of them, yeah. Next time, until next time, America. How's that? Is that Maury Povich?
See you in 2 and 2.
This is where you tell me, oh, hey, we stopped recording about a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah.